Okay, ugly and tacky, cheesy, all that. Do you have tips for how, Hannah is asking this, do you have tips for how we convince the powers that be to let go of beautiful brand requirements and to lean into this?
Oh no, I feel a rant.
You
I
want to
feel a
start?
rant.
Or
Go ahead. Go ahead. I need to calm. Go ahead, Tom.
I'll have an answer to how you get the powers to be to do anything, frankly. I mean, they don't so much. I mean, Denisa knows this. I know this. Julie knows this. If you're doing this well and you're succeeding, you're working at that level because you have a vast amount of training in your head, and you've really this is not something you can guess at, and therefore the opinions of the powers to be, and I know they are the power after all, is of almost no use, objectively speaking. So how you deal with it, I don't know. I mean, over the years, I stopped taking clients who wouldn't agree to what I call the verbatim rule, which is you're not going to change a word I write. And that was not to protect me because I couldn't care less as long as you pay my bill. It was to protect their response rate and to get the amateurs out of the room and to get the, I mean, they're well-meaning sometimes, even if they're not just pulling a power move on you, but they're not helping.
So here, I've run into this. The reason I said I need to calm down is in the last 4 years, I've seen 5 charities go through devastating rebrands. And it's because the CEO and the head of comms think that a commercial agency knows more about fundraising than we do. And the commercial agency sells them on the big thing that it's brand. And over the long term, brand brand doesn't. Your brand is how you make people feel. And if you're not, and when I say brand, I'm talking design. I'm talking your logo, your colors, your fonts, everything has to look exactly the same. There is something to be said for a balance. People need to know it's you when they see it. That's what design is for, logos, colors. It's good that people know it's you the minute they see it. Great. But there is that balance and that scaling back so that it doesn't look so commercial. So here's what I say, and I'm not going to, and I haven't won some of these battles. I've lost some big ones. They lost worse because they went ahead with it and lost a lot of money. One agency rebranded and their DM dropped by 50%. We're now, everybody left that did, most of the people left that did the damage, and now we're coming back in trying to help them fix it. And it's working, but it's taking a while, and we're having to rough it up a little bit. But here's what I say to them is what we know from testing over millions of pieces of direct mail is that the more commercial and slick you look, the less money comes in. The more authentic and real and ground level you look, the more money comes in. By the way, do you know what the Merriam-Webster word of the year was for 2023? Authenticity. Authenticity. So you can talk about AI all you want, but authenticity was the word of the year that everybody searched and used more than anything else. So I think sometimes you can't talk them into it. You can sometimes have an outsider come in. That's actually my best advice for you. Find someone who can show some examples and who you say, this is an outside expert. Can they come and talk to our board for a little while or our CEO? But sometimes the better thing to do is unch it. Is try and just rough it up just a little bit here and there. Use some less sparkly photographs. Like, you know how all the professional photographs and they're really slick and they look professional or they look stock. Try and use less of those. Try and get some more real ones. Try and fit in some hand font here and there to write a note to someone. If they're fighting you about it, create a page that looks like a notebook. It was ripped out of a notebook that has a handwritten note from one of your beneficiaries. That sits right on the page. You got your branding all around it, but it makes that page pop out and be authentic. So there's some unching tricks that you can use like that, and look for those. See, it's a very useful word, isn't it? So useful. So that's what I would suggest. If you can't win that battle and you don't want to draw blood, I personally prefer blood. But if you don't want to draw blood, then try to get some little things, work some little things in there. And that putting a handwritten note looks like it's ripped out of a note page and has a picture paper clip to it, like we would create an appeal and put it in there, but it's still got all the branding around. So you're going to have to find that halfway thing. And maybe the answer is to put some graphics and pictures in of particular things that relate to your mission that kind of bring you down to the nitty gritty ground level of what your mission is doing. And it's still going to be surrounded by all the glossy stuff, but it does help take that edge off of it and find a little bit of a balance that might help you a little bit. Or you can just fight them all the time.